the same size and the same shape. Two figures are said to be congruent if they have the same size and the same shape. Or in other words, congruent figures are figures that have the same size and the same shape. In other words, two figures are said to be congruent. One is the exact copy of the other. So two figures are said to be congruent. Two figures are said to be congruent. One is the exact copy. One is the exact copy. The exact copy of the other. Okay, now let's see example. Example. Are the following line segment congruent? Look, this one. Are the following line segments congruent? This line segment is given, and assume, let's name this line segment to be A, B, and the other line segment is given to be here. It is C, D. Are these two line segments congruent? These two line segments are not congruent. This one is not the exact copy of this line segment. And if you move this one and put on this line segment, it doesn't fit. They are not equal. They are not congruent. So, in order to say two line segments are congruent, the length of each line segment must be equal. So here, line segment AB and line segment CD are not congruent. So here, note that two line segments are said to be congruent if and only if they have equal lengths. So here, two line segments are said to be congruent if and only if they have equal lengths. Here, if you take this line segment AB and again another line segment CD, as you can see, both of these two line segments have equal lengths. If you put line segment AB on CD, it exactly fits. They have equal measure. Therefore, they are congruent. So, in order to say two line segments are congruent, they must have equal lengths. Now, let's continue to the next part. Okay, example 2. Example 2. Are the following angles congruent? Are the following angles angles congruent. So here you have this angle A, B, C. And here you have another angle D, E, and F. Okay. Are these two angles congruent? That means if you move this angle and put on this one, does it fit on this angle? No. These two angles are not congruent. Angle A, B, C is not congruent to angle FED. When do we say that two angles are congruent? We say two angles are congruent if they have equal angle measure. If this angle and these two angles are congruent, so one angle fits on the other. Therefore, in that case, we say the angles are congruent. Therefore, here, note that two angles are congruent. Two angles are congruent if and only if and only if they have equal measure. If and only if they have equal measure. If they have equal measure, we can say the two angles are congruent, or one angle fits on the other. So here, let's say this one. If you take this angle, assume this angle is, let's assume to be 30 degree, and again let's take another angle here. Again, this angle also it is 30 degree. So here, let's name the angle to be, this one is angle ABC, and again this angle to be it is DE and F. Are these two angles congruent? That means that this angle fits on this one, completely fits if you move this angle on this one? Yes, in this case, as you can see, the two angles are congruent. They have the same measure. So if you move this angle on this one, it exactly fits. Therefore, they are congruent. Therefore, here, let me write the symbol for congruent. This means it is congruent, the symbol. This one is congruent. So, as you can see here, measure of angle ABC is congruent to measure of angle DEF. So here, measure of angle ABC is the same, or it's congruent to the measure of angle DEF. That's it. Now let's proceed to the next example. Example 3. Are the following circles circles congruent? The this circle and this circle. Are these two circles congruent? And again, B, when do we say that? When do we say that two circles are congruent? I'll give you 30 seconds for this question. Students, have you tried the question? Very nice. Now let's see the answer together. Okay, in the first question A, we are asked whether these two circles are congruent or not. Are these two circles congruent? Does this circle fit on this if we move on this circle? No, these two circles are not congruent. So the two circles are not congruent. The answer here is this: the two circles are not congruent. They are not congruent. Okay, now the second question B. When do we say that two circles are congruent? When do we say that two circles are congruent? Or two circles have the same size? Two circles are congruent if and only if they have the same radius or diameter. So here, two circles are congruent if and only if only if they have the same radius. That's it. Now let's proceed to congruency of triangles. Congruency of triangles. Congruency of triangles. Two triangles are said to be congruent if and only if their corresponding angles and their corresponding sides are congruent. So here, two triangles are said to be congruent if and only if they have if and only if they are their corresponding angles and their corresponding sides are congruent. congruent. So this means if you have two triangles, look, if this triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF, if and only if their corresponding sides are congruent. One, their corresponding side means the corresponding side for AB is here DE. Length AB and DE must be equal. Again, side BC must be congruent to side EF. Again, side AC is congruent to side DF. Let's see it in picture. Look, this one, assume this one is triangle ABC. Again, here you have this exact copy or congruent triangle DEF. So, in order to say these two triangles are congruent, this side AB must fit on side DE. This side must be equal with this one. And side BC, look, this side BC must fit on side EF. This side must be equal with side EF. And again, this side must be equal with side. So this side fits this one. In addition to that, not only side, their corresponding angles must be also congruent. So in this case, angle A, this angle A must fit angle D. Angle A must fit angle D. Again, angle B here must fit angle B must be equal with angle E. Again, angle C here must fit angle F. If these all are satisfied, then we say the two triangles are congruent. So don't forget that this has 6 meanings. Triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF means 1, as just I stated here, side AB is congruent to side AB must be congruent to side DE, and side BC must be congruent to BC with EF. And again, side AC must congruent to DF. Side AC must be congruent to side DF. Not only this one, 1, 2, 3, the remaining 3 parts are the angles, the corresponding angles. So angle A must be congruent to measure of angle A must be congruent to angle A must be congruent to angle D. Angle D, and measure of angle B must be congruent to E. Measure of B with E. And the 6th part, measure of angle C must be congruent with measure of angle F. So that's it. So now let's proceed to example. Example. Consider the following triangles. Here, this triangle is given. right angle triangle. Okay, assume this side is 6 meters long, this one is 8, and this one is 10. And assume this angle to be, let's name this triangle to be triangle A, B, C. And let's assume this angle is this 53 degree, and this one is this 37 degree. Again, let's take this triangle. Okay, this angle is 90 degree. This side is 10 units, and this one is 8 units, and this one is 6, and this is assumed to be 53 degree, and this one is this 37 degree. And let's assume this triangle to be triangle D, E, F. Now, using these two triangles, are these two triangles congruent? Is all the 6 parts of these two triangles congruent? And in what order? Look here, the sides 6, 10, 8. Again here, 6, 8, 10. They have the same side. And look the angles, 90, 53, 37, 90, 53, 37. All the 6 parts of these two triangles are congruent. But in what order are they congruent? How do we fit one triangle on another? Here, the first question, triangle ABC is congruent to which triangle? How do we fit triangle of ABC on this one? Let's see this together. Look, here side AB, this side AB is 8 units long. It starts from 37 degree to 90. So you have to fit on that order. So 8 units, you have 8 units here. So this side must fit on this side. In what order? A, B, 37 degree to 90, 37 degree to 90. So it fits on DE. So triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DE. DE. The next one, C, is 53 degree. F is 53, they are the same. So triangle ABC is this congruent to triangle DEF. Now, try this question. How do you fit this congruence? Triangle BCA is congruent to blank. I'll give you 20 seconds. Students, have you tried the question? Good. Let's see the answer together. Here, BC. BC is 6 units. So this side, BC, fits on 6 units. It must fit on EF. In what order? BC, from 90 degree to 53. So here, BC fits on 90 to 53 EF. Therefore, triangle BCA is congruent to EF. The next letter, the remaining letter is this D. So triangle BCA is congruent to triangle EFD. One more question. Try this one. Triangle CAB is congruent to which triangle? I'll give you 30 seconds. Students, have you tried the question? Very nice. Let's see the answer together. Okay, here, triangle CAB. CA is 10 units. It has to fit on this line, 10 units. In what order? CA from 53 degree to 37. So from 53 degree to 37, that's FD. Therefore, here this is triangle FD. So what's remaining? FD, the remaining letter is E. So this is the congruency order of these two triangles. That's it. Now, let's proceed to another example. One last example. Example. Okay. Triangle XYZ is congruent to if triangle XYZ is congruent to triangle DEF and the measure of length XY, assume XY to be 4 units 4 centimeter, and YZ to be 3 centimeter. XZ is 5 centimeter, and measure of angle Y is 90 degree. Then find A, the length of DE, the length of EF, and the length of DF. Find the length of this. Again, find the measure of angle E. So, let's see this question together. Here, the two triangles are congruent. If the two triangles are congruent, the corresponding 6 parts of these triangles are congruent. That means the measure of XY, length XY, must be congruent to DE. So here, XY is given to be 4 centimeter. Therefore, DE is the same. So the length of DE is this 4 centimeter. Again, YZ must be congruent to EF. So YZ must be congruent to YZ EF. Here, YZ is given, it is 3 centimeter. So 3 centimeter is the measure of EF. Therefore, the length of EF is 3 centimeter. Again, here, XZ is congruent to DF. Therefore, here, the length XZ is equal to the length DF. So here, XZ is 5 centimeter. So DF is also, it is 5 centimeter. Now, one more question here. We are asked to find measure of angle E. So, measure of angle E is congruent to measure of angle Y. So, this is question A. And B, measure of angle E is the same as measure of angle Y. So here, measure of angle Y is given to be 90 degrees. Therefore, measure of angle is also 90 degrees. That's it. This is all about today's lesson. Then I'll give you exercise for you to try it at home. Exercise. One. If triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF, then 1, that means A, then triangle BAC will be congruent to blank. B, triangle CAB is this congruent to blank. Again, C, okay, measure of length AB is congruent to blank. D, measure of side length BC is this congruent to E, measure of angle BAC is this congruent to blank. Okay, second question. Considering the following two triangles, answer the following question. Consider the following triangles. The congruent parts are marked with same sign. The congruent parts are marked with similar symbol. Okay, so this triangle is given. It is X, Y, Z. Here, D, E, F, Okay, considering these two triangles, triangle X, Y, Z is congruent to triangle blank. That's it. This is all about today's lesson. I will give you 1 minute to copy the question. So this is all about today's lesson. Until next lesson, goodbye.